Welcome back, college football fans, to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, the channel created by the college football fan for the college football fan, the only channel where we examine, discuss, celebrate, and honor all things college football across the entire college football landscape. I'm your usual host, Blair Parks. It's great to be back with you here on a Monday afternoon, November 25th. I hope you all had an excellent weekend. I apologize for those of you who were looking for my Week 13 preview and picks episode. I just got too damn busy at the end of last week, and I had to roll out of town Friday morning up to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, up to Dairyland itself for a wedding. And I want to say congratulations to the happy couple, Carrie and Brett. I hope you have a great future filled with love, happiness, understanding, and kindness. I'm sure you will. And what a great honor it was for me to be a part of that ceremony up there in Milwaukee over the weekend. So I apologize to you, the Touchdown Black and Gold family, for not getting that episode up last week. But hey, I'm back, better than ever, ready to rock and roll, well rested, ready to get it on. Woo! And what I got on tap for you today is my updated, projected college football playoff rankings post Week 13. The official college football playoff rankings will be revealed tomorrow evening. And all I got to say is post Week 13, wow. I mean, just everything that transpired on Saturday was just next level. This is why college football cannot be matched or beaten by anything. It is the best sporting event, best seasonal event, best everything that we have in this great nation of ours. It's just unrivaled, unmatched. It's next level, next world. Everything else is second place, and a far second in the rear view to college football. I mean, the wheel of destiny continues to spin in the Big 12 Conference, also in the SEC. I mean, it's more like Russian roulette in the Big 12 Conference. Who wants to claim a stake to play in the Big 12 Conference Championship game? And the big question in the SEC is, is there an elite team or teams? I mean, everybody is kind of jumbled there. Who is really good? Who has separated themselves in the SEC to where is there just a few really good teams and maybe everybody else is average? Because I don't know if there is an elite team, and that will be shown here in my updated projections for those college football rankings coming out at you live tomorrow evening. All right, if this is your first time with me, welcome to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. For those of you who've been with me before, you know how I roll. I always encourage, welcome, and ask for your involvement because without you and your support, your time, my interactions with you, my fellow college football brothers and sisters, none of this would be possible. It's such a great honor to share my love and affection, my passion for all things college football with you, the fellow listeners and my fellow fans here on the channel. You are the ones who drive these episodes, so please get involved, comment below, light up the comment section. I will get back to each and every one of you much sooner than later individually via those comments. Like, share, subscribe, rate. Let's go ahead and spread the word because I want to find more college football fans just like you. All right, so let's go ahead and get into my episode. I got about a maximum of 25-30 minutes to spend with you. Normally what I've been doing on the previous weeks, going to be the same format, but one little tweak here today. I will give you my projected top 12 plus 2. I will also give you my first and second teams out, and then I'll go ahead and give you the next 6 in any different order, just rounding out the top 20 compared to basically based on how I would rank these teams if I was the final say-so, the committee chair, the big dog, the big wig, the head honcho, the dude of that college football playoff committee. This is how I would rank them, and the variables very, very simple. I mean, it's not just record. It also comes down to strength of schedule. Who have you played? Who did you defeat? Who did you lose to? Maybe common opponents. A big one is head-to-head, which the head-to-head definitely does kind of separate some of the teams on this list, why one might be higher and one might be lower. So variables, pretty self-explanatory. I know you'll love it. Just stay with me, and I can't wait to get involved here and go ahead and present these to you. So please like, share, comment, light it up. The floor is yours. Subscribe, click that, smash that button like the kiddos say these days. Get notifications. Welcome to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into it. The tweak I'm going to do, I am going to go ahead and unveil to you my top 4, and then I'm going to give you a little topic of discussion and debate just to get those comments going there. And I'm also going to share with you, based on last week, did this team, how many positions did they rise or fall, or did they stay exactly where they were the previous week? All right, so let's go ahead and get into my projected top 4, and I try my best not to do any forecasting. This is just as of right now. Yes, these are going to change, especially going into week 14. It's rivalry weekend. There's still a ton to play for. So if you feel a little disrespected based on what I say and where I have your team, they're going to have still opportunities to either move up or move down. If you disagree with something I say, let me know about it. Let's just be adults with those comments. All right, so number 1, no movement now for several weeks. I've got at the top right where they've been, and I don't think they're going anywhere. I've got out of the Big Ten, the Big Ten champion as of right now, the Oregon Ducks, who are 11-0. Number 2, based on the chaos that we saw in the SEC on Saturday, this team all of a sudden now is basically in the 2-hole. I have them my projected champion in the SEC as of now. I'm talking about the Georgia Bulldogs, 9-2 overall, and they're up 4 spots from last week. I mean, all they had to do was take care of business and win, which they did over the weekend, and they moved up 4 spots into the number 2 hole. All right. Number 3, I've got the ACC projected champion, SMU, 10-1 overall. I've been high on this team for a while now, so they are exactly where they were last week. I think they are the class of the ACC, but they're going to have a legit challenge from either Miami or potentially Clemson. I mean, all they got to do is take care of business, and they're going to be dancing there in Charlotte with a chance to get to the expanded college football playoff. So I got the Mustangs in at number 3, exactly where they were last week. Number 4, my projected champion of the Big 12 Conference, at least this week, I've got to go with somebody who is making their initial appearance on my top 12 plus 2 list. I mean, this is a team right now that is hotter than Texas chili. Nobody should want to be on the opposite sideline facing this team. I'm talking about young Kenny Dillingham's Arizona State Sun Devil team. I've got them right now in the 4 spot. They're 9-2 overall. All they're doing down the stretch here is winning. And plus, I'm a big fan of Sparky, their mascot, one of my favorites. I mean, all they're doing right now there in Tempe is forking the competition. So get forked, like the students there say, the fans at Arizona State. So I got the Sun Devils rounding out my top 4 in the 4 hole, representing the Big 12. All right, so feel free, let me know what you think. Like, share, comment, rate, subscribe. Now I'm going to go ahead and deviate. Normally I would then proceed with my 5 through 12, then into my top 2 out, but I'm going to go ahead and give you a little topic of discussion. Based on what we saw over the weekend, I want to focus on 2 teams, and you're not going to hear these teams in my top 12 or the plus 2. You're just not, because I think neither of them deserve to get into the playoff field. that doesn't mean that they can't maybe find themselves there in a couple weeks. I think if more chaos still happens, they might sneak in the back door. Neither of these teams, I believe, deserve to get in. I'm talking about Alabama and Ole Miss. They both lost over the weekend, bad losses. Both of them have 3 losses total. And if it came down to it, I want to hear from you, the college football fan. Which team do you think is more deserving to get in between Ole Miss and Alabama? And I'll give you my opinion, and you could agree or you could respectfully disagree. But when you look at the two variables, the two main points to look at is eye test and schedule. When I look at the eye test of Alabama and Ole Miss, I think Ole Miss, is the better team. They seem to be more balanced, and they're not so codependent or relying on one thing. And I will mention what that is for Alabama. But with Ole Miss, they simply sometimes just can't get out of their own way. So I think Ole Miss has consistently played better football, and they've looked more the part via just the eye test. All right. Now, from a scheduling standpoint, I mean, both of these teams have bad losses. All right. Yes, a loss is never a good thing, but sometimes you can say it was a good loss, a bad loss, or a terrible loss. All right. So first of all, these two teams did not play each other in the regular season, which would have been the end-all discussion. All right. Now, common opponents. They both have victories at home over mighty Georgia. Ole Miss and Alabama are the two teams that knocked off Georgia in the regular season, and they both have victories over a pretty solid, good South Carolina team as well. All right. So there is some crossover with common opponents, but now you got to look at losses, okay? And it really comes down to which one of these two variables do you really cherish the most and put the most stock into? Is it eye test? Hey, who simply looks like the better team? Or is it schedule, all right? Let's look at Ole Miss. Their losses, yikes. They have a bad loss on the road at LSU. I mean, that LSU team now that's looking like a worse loss each and every week. They lost in overtime at LSU, did Ole Miss. They also lost over the weekend at Florida, who now is 6-5. So those to me are both bad losses. I mean, they're definitely not good losses, but I wouldn't say they're terrible losses, but they're bad losses. All right. And then their third loss, absolutely a terrible loss at home against lonely Kentucky, who is not going to be going to the postseason. So that's really Ole Miss's losses. Now, let's look at Alabama's losses. All right. So 3 losses. One of those on the road at Tennessee, who is going to get into the playoff field as long as they just take care of Vanderbilt this weekend. They're going to find themselves, their name is going to be announced in a couple weeks on Selection Sunday. So at Tennessee, good loss, no doubt about it. But their other losses, they lost at Vanderbilt, which that is still probably right now just a bad loss. I mean, this is a better Vanderbilt team than what we're used to in recent history, but they're still Vanderbilt. I mean, they're kind of coming down. I believe over the weekend they lost to LSU. I think that's their 4th, maybe 5th loss. So that is teetering between good and bad and terrible loss, But I'm going to say Vanderbilt is still just a bad loss for Alabama. Over the weekend, though, going to Norman against their inept offense that Oklahoma has had all season. They get absolutely blitzkrieged, embarrassed by 5-5 Oklahoma. That's a terrible loss. And I'm sorry, Oklahoma fans. I know you're not going to want to hear that, but it's a terrible loss. All right, it is. All right. So when I look at that, and the problem with Alabama, why I think they're not the best team via eye test is they are so dependent on Jalen Milroe's legs. All right. Yes, is not just being one-dimensional, but if he's not able to get out there and make something happen with his legs, Alabama's going to struggle, all right? Now, overall, LSU, that was Ole Miss lost at LSU. Alabama went there and absolutely shellacked, kicked the hell out of LSU. So the most deserving team via schedule would be Alabama. So if I was able to pick one of these two, I like to go more off of schedule. I'm picking Alabama if I had to over Ole Miss. I want to hear from you, though, the college football fan. Let me know what you think about that question. Light it up below in that comments. Can't wait to hear from you. So on with the countdown. So let's go ahead and pick it up at number 5, my first at large. No change from last week. Ohio State, the Buckeyes, absolutely dominated on national television Indiana after giving up a touchdown on the Hoosiers' opening drive. A previously undefeated Indiana Hoosier team, they made mincemeat out of them, especially in the second half. They're 10-1 overall. I got the Buckeyes at number 5. Number 6, up 3 spots from last week, just because at this point in the SEC, it might simply just be win and survive, even though it wasn't really a victory over a legit opponent, over lonely Kentucky, that is. I already mentioned them. But Texas, they're 10-1 overall because everybody has lost in front of them. I got them up 3 big spots to number 6 going into rivalry week. Everything is on the line between Texas and Texas A&M at Kyle Field. Can't wait to watch that game Saturday night. So pumped about that one. So Texas, number 6. Number 7, up 1 spot from last week, even though it got a little bit hairy at the end. On the road, up in the Twin Cities against the bald beauty PJ Fleck. Penn State is able to get it done, get a victory by 1 point. And since they won, they do move up 1 spot. That Minnesota team, really, really solid. Kind of a team that's under the radar. And for somebody in bowl season, you don't want to be seeing that Minnesota team because they are playing really good football right now. So I got Penn State up 1 spot to number 7. Number 8, I mean, all they do is win, like DJ Khaled. All right, yes, you might say their schedule has been weak, but hey, they make their schedule years in advance. But eye test alone, they keep flexing each and every week like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Lou Ferrigno of old. I'm talking about the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I mean, yes, they're 10-1, the 1 loss, terrible loss at home to NIU, Northern Illinois, early in the season. But when you watch them play, they are one of the 12 best teams in the nation. They are. They have a championship level defense and a championship level rushing attack and a quarterback in Riley Leonard, experienced. He knows what to do. He takes what he's given, and he normally does not make mistakes putting them in a bad situation. When it comes playoff time, if Notre Dame wins against USC this week, they will find themselves in the playoff field. But if they lose in the Golden Shillelagh rivalry, one of my favorite rivalry games, by the way, each and every year, if they lose this Saturday at USC out there in La La Land, they're not going to be in the playoff. I'm sorry, Notre Dame, but you're not. Take care of business. Nobody's going to want to play this team in the playoff. They are playing really, really good, solid football right now. All right? So I got Notre Dame up 2 spots, number 8 from last week. Number 9 up 4 big spots because, hey, all they did was win over the weekend. I believe they took on UTEP. Yeah, it was cupcake week for a lot of the SEC teams last week. I've got the Tennessee Volunteers. They were my first team out last week. Now they are solidly in. All they got to do, take care of their in-state rival, Vanderbilt, in Music City Saturday, and they'll be finding themselves in the college football playoff field. So welcome back to the field, Tennessee Volunteers at number 9. Number 10, all right? And I have been a little bit perplexed about the ACC. I've got this team coming back to my list this week. Number 10, up 4 spots. I've got the Miami Hurricanes. They're currently 10-1. If they win this Saturday. They will then automatically advance to the ACC title game to either take on SMU or Clemson. And I think if Miami happens to lose in the ACC title game and other teams more or less lose around them or simply a little bit in front of them, I still think they could maybe get an at-large, and vice versa for SMU. I think the ACC could possibly still get one at-large team in, but we'll have to wait and see. But for this week, I've got Miami at number 10. Number 11, my big tumbler this week. Well, actually, that would be Alabama, but my second big tumbler, number 11, after that embarrassing loss with all eyes like Tupac, all eyes on me, on Columbus, 11 o'clock on Saturday. I've got the Indiana Hoosiers, their first loss of the season. They're now 10-1 overall. All they have to do is take care of Purdue, their in-state rival this weekend, and I still think an 11-1 Power 4 conference football team is going to make the college football playoff. They will. They have to. I mean, you're not going to take a 3-loss SEC school over a 1-loss Indiana. You're just not. Because if it was reversed, if let's say an SEC team basically played nobody, and Indiana's schedule is Charmin soft. I mean, I'm a Big Ten guy, but come on. I'm not going to lie to you. Also with Penn State, their schedule, other than both of those teams playing Ohio State, but all you can do is take care of the business in front of you. So if Penn State and Indiana, my number 11 team, they win this week, they're going to be in the playoff. They're not going to be left out of a 1-loss 12-team playoff compared to a 3-loss team. It just ain't going to happen. Maybe even a 2-loss team may not get in over them. So Indiana is in, number 11. Just take care of Purdue Pete and those Boilermakers. Finally, number 12, right where they were last week. They took care of business again. They didn't dominate, but I've got the Boise State Broncos now 10-1, bringing up number 12, representing the group of 5 teams for that one automatic spot. And I know right now some people are projecting Boise State, they're going to be a higher ranked team than any of the Power 4 champions. That just ain't going to happen. I mean, right now, Boise State, I know everybody loves them. I get it. They're a good team. They deserve to be in the playoff right now. But their best win, Washington State, who they defeated at home on the Smurf turf, good, solid victory. But still, Boise State's best win is a 3-point loss at Oregon. That's really what people are gripping and holding on to. They don't really have a big-time victory. And they haven't really played anybody except for Oregon themselves, all right? So that's why I'm thinking right now, if Army, even though they got embarrassed over the weekend by Notre Dame, if Army defeats Tulane in a couple weeks and wins the AAC conference title, beating a ranked Tulane is a much better victory than anybody on Boise State's schedule. And if Army then takes care of Navy and they both have one loss, I think Army, for me, should be given the pass. They should be given that berth over Boise State because they have a better win. I'm sorry, they do. I mean, yeah, their schedule is weak, as just like Boise State's is, but still, it comes down to who did you play and who did you beat, all right? So we'll see what plays out. But as of now, I got the Broncos in number 12. All right, now to finish this up, my first team out after the bad loss on the road Saturday night, but still, they have a chance to still get themselves into the playoff. I've got my first team out, number 13, the Texas A&M Aggies. They still control their own destiny. They simply take care of Big Brother this Saturday night at home. They defeat the mighty Texas Longhorns. They punch their ticket to the SEC title game. Now, they do have 3 losses, so if they win the SEC title game, they're in automatically. But for them, they've got to win out. I think if they win this week, they've got a chance. But if they lose in the SEC title game against Georgia, that's their 4th loss. No way they're getting in. You're just not with 4 losses, okay? My second team out, and I know I'm going to maybe catch some flack about this, but I still had to go to the Big 12 and think, okay, what still is a team that's in contention? I mean, Arizona State, I've already mentioned, all they have to do is take care of Arizona this weekend. They have them, I think they're on the road in Tucson, I believe. But if they win, they advance to the Big 12 title game after knocking off my second team out over the weekend, BYU. I still think BYU is one of the two best teams in the Big 12 conference. What they need to do, they need to win, and I think they win is all they have to do, I believe. I have to check the tiebreakers again. It's going to come down to BYU or Iowa State, I believe, meeting Arizona State. But I'm just assuming, because we don't know what the hell is going to happen week by week in the Big 12. It's, like I said, it's Russian roulette right now. It's Robert De Niro and Christopher Walken in The Deer Hunter. Okay, that's what it is right now, the Big 12 conference. And my best of the rest, rounding out the rest of the top 20, I've then got Alabama, South Carolina, that's the other team right now that's hot as Texas chili, like Arizona State. Nobody right now should want to face and square off with South Carolina right now. If they had one less loss, they've got 3 losses on the season, a bad loss at home against LSU, a loss at home, got blown out by Ole Miss at home, and then a 2-point loss at Alabama. If they would have one less loss, they absolutely would be in my college football playoff rankings. So South Carolina next, then Ole Miss, then I've got Iowa State. 19, I've got Clemson, who still is alive for the ACC title berth. And then 20th, I've got the Tulane Green Wave, previously mentioned, ranked, and they're looking forward. They're going to be squaring off with Army in a couple weeks for the AAC conference title. All right, so that is my episode for today, my updated, projected college football playoff rankings post week 13. Please let me know what you think. Comment below, like, share, rate, subscribe. You want to get notifications for my next episode. If you're wondering, I will be back with you on Wednesday morning. That's right, it's going to be a Wednesday episode this week, not Thursday, because of the Turkey Day holiday, and happy early Thanksgiving to you and yours, because I've got to get my picks in early. I've got a few games on the docket that I'm picking and previewing that are going to be going down on Black Friday. So many rivalry games, so many to discuss and choose from. I cannot wait. It's my favorite week of the regular season, even though it is bittersweet, because that means the regular season will be at a conclusion once again. Very sad, but exciting as well. So definitely make sure to check out my Week 14 preview and picks episode coming your way Wednesday morning here in the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Thank you for all you do, your support, your continued time, your attention, and for making this possible for me, your common average Joe college football fan. All right, so can't wait to hear from you. Comment, like, share, subscribe, and until Wednesday, enjoy yourself. Have a great work week, school week. Be safe, be responsible, peace, prosperity. And I'll see you Wednesday on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Go Hawks.